Welcome back. If you just joined us, watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. The federal government is set to roll out a program aimed at feeding over 24 million school children at the basic school level with 1 meal a day from locally sourced foodstuff. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who inaugurated the strategic plan and the national coordinating team for the implementation of the program at the presidential villa, said besides feeding school children, the program is also targeted at creating 1.14 million new jobs. Our correspondent, Omelogo Nadi, reports.
This strategic workshop at the presidential villa, with state governors, ministries and department partners in attendance, is set to provide a forum for stakeholders to brainstorm on effective implementation of the homegrown school feeding program of the federal government in states. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who launches the national strategic plan, expects an increase in food production, particularly animal protein and grains, of up to 530,000 metric tons, to provide a nutritious meal a day to at least 20 million school children, also providing jobs and bringing investments to boost the economy.
One, it will improve school enrollment and completion and curb the current dropout rates from primary schools, estimated at 30%, and thereby also reduce child labor. Two, it will improve child nutrition and health. It will also increase local agricultural production.
The scheme is developed with the support of technical partners, London's Partnership for Child Development, who expects Nigeria to take a cue from 10 other case studies, including India and Brazil.
We're looking at good practice. We're looking at what works, what doesn't work. How do we take this to scale? How do we make this sustainable? How do we make this mainstreamed into general well-being for the children?
The federal government's plan already has 2 strong case studies in Nigeria. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who only started January 2016, says 4,000 school children are covered in the scheme at the cost of 318 million naira weekly and 4.1 billion naira in a term.
In Kaduna State, no parent has an excuse for his child, girl or boy, not to be in school.
Osun State school feeding program commenced in 2012, and up to 3.2 billion naira is spent annually in nearly 1,400 elementary schools.
5 weeks of our introduction of it, elementary school enrollment shot up by 38,935 pupils, from 155,380 to 194,253, representing 25%. And the highest enrollment in Nigeria.
Arise and shine, my beloved school united.
Just as these beneficiaries of the Osun State program, the federal government plans to spread the school feeding program to public schools across the federation. The target is to ensure that as many children as possible get 1 nutritious meal a day to enhance learning, address micronutrient deficiencies in children, alleviate hunger, and safeguard Nigeria's future. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
Violence and electoral irregularities have been identified as major factors that have led to several inconclusive elections conducted recently by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Some of the irregularities have led some Nigerians to renew calls for the implementation of the Justice Uwais report on Nigeria's electoral reforms. Today in Lagos, a civil society group called the President to ensure the implementation of the report as part of his government's change agenda. Our political correspondent, Shehu Okinbaloye, reports.
They revisit particularly the Uwais report on that aspect of their recommendations, believing also that we need to nip in the bud the rising trend of electoral violence.
That is the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and one thing which worries him since he assumed office at told Channels Television is the implementation of the report on electoral reforms. In Lagos, The concern of the INEC chairman resonates here as activists and concerned experts in Nigeria's electoral system converge to discuss how to improve on Nigeria's electoral system. Former NADECO leader, Nigerian lawyer Mr. Ayo Padokun, is a convener. For him, the Buhari government must make the implementation of the Justice Uwais report a priority.
Even senior legal practitioners have been periodically reported of late to be fixing money into the coded accounts of judges presiding over cases where their claims matters are being heard is capable enough. The struggle and campaign for new electoral reform must therefore resume with Mr. President Buhari as he further gives effect to his mantra for change.
Violence in Nigeria's election is what gives these Nigerian rights activists much concern. He suggests ways of curbing violence in future polls.
The Ministry of Justice ensures the prosecution of election violators in a timely manner. Printing of ballot papers should start to be done in Nigeria. If we do not trust ourselves, who will trust us?
A strong electoral system is a sure path to a sane democratic system. These sort of calls come every day. It is now left for government to rise to the occasion so that the efforts of the drafters of the report would not go in vain. Seun Wakimaloye reported for Channels Television News.
Taking you now to Abuja, where Gloria Mizuke is standing by with more on the news at 10. Hi, Gloria.
Hello, Marachi. Good to see you, and welcome to the nation's capital. The Senate has received a list of 47 ambassadorial nominees from President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, who confirmed the receipt of the names, says that the nominees are all career civil servants. He promised that the screening and confirmation of the nominees will soon commence.
In accordance with Section 171, C, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, I have the honor to forward the attached list of 47 career foreign service officers as ambassador designate for consideration and confirmation by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Copies of the curriculum vitae CVs are attached herewith. It is my hope that this will receive the usual kind, prompt attention of the distinguished members of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Kindly accept, Mr. Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
The call for the restructuring of Nigeria as a nation has been described as a misplaced priority that will not augur well for the development and growth of Nigeria. Well, this is according to the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese and founder of the Kuka Center, Bishop Matthew Kuka, who says that Nigerians are the ones in need of restructuring and not the nation. He was addressing a news conference in Abuja ahead of the Fixing Nigeria initiative organized by the Kuka Center.
Now we're talking about restructuring Nigeria, and I'm really unsure. My personal conviction is that I think we are the first people who require restructuring. You know, whether it's from the point of view of just the intellectual way we see this country. Those who talk about restructuring have really not explained what they meant. And there are those who talk about true federalism, again, as I said, as if there is real and imagined federalism anywhere. The truth of the matter is to go back to what our late Papa Justice Tuputa said, you know, when at the political reform conference, they were talking about rotation. And he said, look, I mean, we can talk from now till the end of the day, but all we're talking about rotation, there's no rotation of power, it's rotation of corruption. Now, the truth is that we haven't gotten our hands around why things are the way they are in Nigeria. And I think if we are honest with ourselves, it is easy that we blame those who are in power. But more and more of us are unwilling to take responsibility for the things that we are doing that are wrong. I think my personal conviction is that you can restructure this country But it's like trying to put the genie back into the bottle. There's a lot wrong with the way Nigeria has been designed now.
The Borno state government has taken delivery of 21 truckloads of assorted food items donated by the Dangote Foundation to the internally displaced persons. In April, founder of the Dangote Group of Companies, Aliko Dangote, had pledged to support state authorities in the northeast with food items to cushion the effect of the humanitarian crisis. The intervention is to augment the feeding of the internally displaced throughout Ramadan. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima commended the Dangote Foundation for its support, calling on well-meaning Nigerians to take a cue from the gesture.
We wish to call on other well-meaning Nigerians who have the capacity to support the late exam to cultural aid. This gentleman is the single highest employer of labor in this country. He deserves special commendation for the love he has shown to us. Not even now, for the past 4 years, he has been quite helpful. So every Ramadan season, he has been sending consignments of food products for our people. But this time around, for a single foundation, to give 100 cups of assorted commodities is out of this world. It's beyond commendation. I think it's almost a divine intervention. And we work closely with the foundation and other men and women of integrity towards ensuring that these food items reach the rightful beneficiaries. This is the most important thing, to ensure that the right people have gotten access to this food store.
When the news at 10 returns, Budget Office of the Federation gets new Director General as President Buhari appoints new former Lagos State Finance Commissioner Ben Akabuezi. Please join us again.